Hey people, so I have a lot of catching up to do. I've recorded a separate video about September 11th, but I didn't tell what I did on that day. So, went to classes. They were pretty chill. Let's see, gosh, this is getting so difficult when the days are running together. I need to do this daily. But classes were pretty chill. It was sort of an off day. I woke up really late and was feeling pretty sick. So that was kind of rough. But then I got to come home and eat lunch here. And my mom asked that I just lay low for the day because of the protests in the city about September 11th. So I just chilled out. I was watching some videos about like documentaries or small documentaries about the September 11th incident here in Chile. There was a soccer game on yesterday between Chile and Colombia, but Chile lost, so sad day. What else? It was just sort of a restful day to try and get over my cold. I'm really babying it to the point of no end. But so today, I went to class, which today we had class at a fish market. Okay, so I don't know what the word is, what it translates to, but it's like where fishers come with all the fish that they've caught and give them to the cleaners, and either give them to the cleaners and the cleaners like debone and skin them, or sell them directly in whole. So you can go and buy fish from these individual fishermen. I say a lot. From these individual fishermen rather than from the supermarkets where they get them from the mass industrial shipping, fishing boats, ships. So we went there. We had a list of questions to ask about, like, what's the biggest problem with your job? Or difficulty? What's the how does this affect you? Is there a solution? Are you guys organizing together as individual fishers to like compete with the industrial fishers? So what we learned is that there's a big shortage of fish because of the number of fish that industrial fishers take. And also industrial fishers are destroying the ecosystem because their nets, they have these huge nets, like Finding Nemo style, but that drag along the bottom and just destroy everything. And then they take all the fish out of the water, good, bad, ugly, as well as all the, like, any trash, any like coral, anything. And then while they're picking through it, all these things are dying because they're out of the water, and then they throw them back in the water. They have a pile of, this is what we take and this is what we don't take, and they throw the we don't take back in the water. Okay, next. One of the biggest problems is the shortage of fish. So right now there's a law set by the government that a certain type of fish that is very rare right now can't be fished. However, they're called like artisan, the individual fishers who respect this, while the industrial fishers are not expecting it, the industrial fishing companies. So it's just incredulous. It's frustrating. It's just total suppression of the minority, of the smallest person, of the smallest voice. So it was really kind of interesting. So at the end we talked with this one guy who was sort of trying to put in some terms that we would understand, and he was saying you go home and you know that there's food on your table. We're out here and we're working and working and working, and we don't know when we'll be able to buy food again, and we don't know when we'll be able to like feed our family and be with our family in a home with a dinner table, and we don't know. And and the students are protesting, but some of these kids are just protesting to be able to get out there and fight and spit in policemen's faces. Well, we need to protest to get some rights, to get some recognition, to get some like benefits for individual fishers so that industrial fishing companies do not destroy our ocean and our like aquatic life, destroy the populations of fish in the area, and create a monopoly. But meanwhile, these students are out here fighting and just burning cars and doing sit-ins and skipping out on school. And it was really, really interesting, but really hard. And I had just gotten to this point where I was like, I can't stand the smell of fish anymore. It was really great at first. Like I touched a stingray. I was petting it. Well, it was dead, but I was petting a dead stingray, reminiscent of petting my dead cat. But that's fine. And touched its little. It has these little tentacles that you touch, and they grab your finger. So it grabbed my finger, and then when I went to pull away, it was like his finger trap. So what you had to do is reach out, down and squeeze the tentacle, but that's how they kill you. So that was crazy. Or they weren't exactly stingrays because they had tentacles. It was very confusing. I don't know. The names for fish in Spanish are very different, very difficult, except for salmon. Salmon is just salmon. So there were some really great people, and they were telling us about, let's see, there's a union, but all of the fishermen really like to be independent, and they pride themselves on their independence or their cohesion as a family, and it's a very familial business. Like dad will pass it down to son, and so on and so on. And then the wife and sisters are wife, sisters slash daughters are working in the like inland the whole time, preparing nets, sorting through fish, negotiating deals. But of course, the man always has the final say. But sort of taking care of these little pieces because it really is just it's a joint job. Okay, so then we went to class. So then that was our first part of class, the part with Professor Carlos. And then we went to the second part of class, which was the part I have with Professor Vanya. And Vanya said, you guys want to have class in like a cafe? We can get something to drink. So we headed to a cafe, and I got a hot chocolate, and then everyone was like, oh my gosh, I want to get a hot chocolate. It's such a good idea. It's just so funny how we're like it's such a little thing. It's a hot chocolate, but we all got really, really excited about it. So we all sipped on hot chocolate while we talked about the fishers and different types of fish. And let's see, what did we talk about today? We talked more about how to use the past, like pattern and perfect. So boring, but and we've gone over it a million times, and it's just still like you're still gonna mess it up every now and again, but you do what you do. So we did that, hanging out, chatting a little bit, and then I came home with my friend Linnea, and we had lunch here with my mom. It was lentils with quinoa and vegetables like celery, carrots, onions, some peppers maybe, and Parmesan cheese, and then you add a little yellow mustard to it, which honestly just like is the only thing with flavor, but it's not really. Like there are spices. She put cumin in there, which is really good, but the mustard just completely flavors it. And so we had that, and then only had a little while to hang out here until Linnea had to go to her interview. So we had these, they called them interviews, but it was really just like a conversation, checking up kind of thing, with the directors. The directors just wanted to check up and see how we're doing, how our homestays are doing, how we're doing with classes, and then if we're thinking about our projects. So if we're sort of like finding some sort of direction to take with them, if we're just something of the sort, which one guy had already picked out his topic, so he's like ready to go. But yeah, not so much with this kid. I'll figure it out. Then I went to a documentary again, and I actually don't know if I talked about this the last time. I don't think I made a video for Monday, so I'll do that first and post it. But today's was about these Yugoslavian refugees during the state war. So it was very easy to understand because, well, it was actually kind of weird because they were speaking Yugoslavian, and then the subtitles were in Spanish, and then I had to read them in Spanish, and still when I'm reading I have to translate to English, so then I was translating to English. Anyway, this is quite a long video. So I sort of fell asleep because I sort of have a thing where I fall asleep during movies. It's fine, no big deal. But I got the basic gist of it. The Yugoslavians didn't like it here. They had gotten some brochure about what living in Chile was going to be like, and that's not what they had. And they were like, at home I have 3 houses, and they all have at least 4 floors, and blah blah blah. So it's very interesting. But I wonder what the Chileans think of it, because these Yugoslavians were just bashing their homes. I don't know. Anyway, then we all just split as a group, and I've been working on my paper. I have to write a paper about identity, which is so vague. But my dad helped me out. My dad helped me out, gave me some notes. He was talking about just like we want an identity so that we can feel part of the group, but we also want another identity, or another form of identity, so that we can be our own individual. So how do you compare those? How do you show those? How do you how do you demonstrate that? So I'm gonna blabber on a little bit about that in Spanish. Should be interesting. Not. And then we had once, just chatting it up. My little brother was throwing some swear words out there again, and then my mom was turning all red and saying that he needs to stop saying them because I'm gonna learn them. Luckily, the boy talks so fast I cannot understand a word he's saying, so I just sat there sipping my tea. Also, I'm just really tired and zoned out, so I'll pick it up at some point. Oh, I also have this book one of the directors gave me, Speaking Chileno. So the whole sh thing is from the flightes, the lower class, say Chileno instead of Chileno. And the director kept showing me this picture, and he was like, look, it's written by a gringo. It's written by a gringo. Anyway, so I flipped open this random page, and it was like types of diet. Oh, it'll be under D, obviously. Diets. So I didn't really read. It says here's a fun list of Chilean diets you can try. You're guaranteed to lose weight. I attempted to translate these into English, but they lose too much in translation. Here's one example, just to give you an idea of how to understand these. Read them with some Chilean friends. So, Dieta del Lagarto is the first one. It's the first one I read. And it says literally the lizard's diet. The lizard's diet is to comer poco y culiar harto, or to eat little and fuck a lot. See, it sounds better in Spanish. So I was like, haha, that's so funny, a diet that includes sex, haha. So I walked over and I read it to the director who gave it to me, which is fine because he's very casual and friendly. And he started cracking up. So then I was looking at the other ones. They're all about sex. They're not actually diets. They're sex regimens. So there's one in here. I don't understand a lot of these, but there's one with the mom and the sister. There's one with the mom and then the daughter. Anyway, they're very dirty. So the dietas in Chileno are not just diets. Lesson learned. Lesson learned for the day. Shared with the crowd. Okay, great talking to you folks. Glad that's a nice ending note. I'll post this video as well as one about Monday and about September 11th. Hope you guys enjoy. Lots of love. Bye.